Hello and welcome to another week of Sambo iRacing. It's week 3, season 3, 2024. We are in the Formula Vee, of course we are, for the debut of Circuito De Navarra. It's a new track, it's the first time that it's made its way onto the V schedule, and it's the first time that I've run laps around it actually to do this V guide. So I only did about a dozen or so laps. I did have a quick look on Garage 61. It's obviously hard to tell because there's only just over a dozen or so people that have run laps around here so far. But at this point in time, this is the fastest lap registered for the Formula Vee around here, so it's going to be competitive. There may be the odd tenth here or there that people can shave off, but the important thing, the really important thing about this track is making sure that you're keeping the speed up to a maximum through the corner and making sure that your exit is perfect, because we're going to be on long straights every single time. If you're new to the channel, welcome, grab a seat. We do 3 laps, one I break down, and then second lap, I go chase cam and we go full speed, and then we're back in the cockpit with the driving line on for the final lap. Any questions, let me know in the comments. In the meantime, let's start the lap. So before we begin, I've loaded into this test session directly from the V schedule on the UI. It did load in originally at 38 degrees track temp, and then it has dropped as I continue to run laps down to 33.9 as you see now. So it may cool down as you're going about. Second thing, I don't have a track map right now for this, simply because iRacing and Race Labs haven't sort of aligned themselves at this point, but I do believe that an update will be happening later on today, annoyingly, and I will have one for my races in the week. So try and memorize. There's only 8 corners. It's not too strenuous. So we come up to turn 1, which is very, very straightforward. But over on the left-hand side, 4th gear, once we get to the 100-yard marker, we just start moving our way across. So we can do a little cut, not a huge one, at turn 1. Get back over to the left-hand side. And we're coming up to a really tricky set of corners here. 2 and 3, it is one long corner, but you have to sort of divide it up, and you're looking for 2 things. So first, we get over to the left-hand side, and we start moving back towards the right-hand side. And originally, we're wanting to sort of aim at the apex, which is roughly where that tree is on the left-hand side. So we're going to make that our initial aiming point. And once we get halfway across the track, we're going to do a lift from 100% throttle down to about 20% throttle here. And we're going to do a little cut just to go over the rumble strip. You can see I'm still steering, not massively, only about 20-30 degrees to the right-hand side. So at this point, we've not touched the brake at all. As we come off the apex, I'm going to straighten up my steering, because now I have to take us down from being at 140 kph, 80 odd mile an hour, down to a manageable speed, so that we can actually make it through turn 3. So as I come off the apex, I'm going to straighten the wheel, and as I straighten the wheel, I'm going to brake up to about 75% in a straight line. So as you can see, just trying to keep the car as straight as possible, a little bit of left hand down just to arrest the oversteer that I could feel going on, up to 75%, and then just going to treat it as a normal corner. Now I've wiped off the majority of the speed. I want to start aiming towards the apex of turn 3, and as I start looking to move back across, I'm bleeding off the trail brake, and I'm going to bleed it off all the way down to 0, and once I get to 0, I'm going to drop it to 3rd gear, as you can see here, and really start my turn. I'm nearly at 90 degrees. And at this point, I start building back up on the throttle really quite aggressively, so that once I'm down at the apex, I'm fully on 100% throttle. Now, you can cut it slightly more than I've done here, but that sausage curb is a nightmare. So I was giving myself plenty of room and making sure that my apex speed was the highest it possibly could be. Does feel like it bogs down a bit, but I found 3rd to be better than 2nd there. So for turn 4, a nice cut, no point going on the grass. Up to 4th gear as we come towards turn 5. And again, we're just doing a nice cut, not going on the grass, but getting close to it. As we come up to turn 6, so another tricky corner. So we want to be over on the left-hand side. And our braking marker just coming up ahead. So at the end of the grass and before the rumble strip, you see this white paint starting. As we get there, we're going to brake quite hard in a straight line up to, what's that, 90%. So I'm at brake bias 4 clicks back as normal. So I'm braking in a straight line on the left-hand side using the full width of the track, including the rumble strip. It's not actually too bumpy on the outside here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to start trailing it off all the way down to the apex. So dropping it into third gear. And as you see, only now as I come off the brakes do I start building back up on the accelerator, cutting it as close as I can to the sausage curb here. And then back up to 100%, exit nice and wide, it will force you out there, but you do have to keep your right hand tyres on the rumble strip, you can't fully go off onto the green tarmac. Turn 7, nice and straightforward. What we're doing is we're getting over to the right hand side. This is going to be absolutely flat, so trying to keep our steering wheel as straight as possible. Again, wanting to cut the corner but without going over the grass too much. And then the final braking marker, it's just again in the middle of this painted section before the red and white. You can use the 150 meter marker here. And once we get there, we're going to brake again, very similar to turn 6 just before, in a straight line, but this time not quite as hard, only up to about 75%. And then we're going to slowly trail off on the brakes. And I'm giving it a big blip there, as you can see. And that blip is because I'm going to drop down to second gear. Now, if you do this in third, you are going to be slower. It really does bog down in third. I found second gear to be worth 3 or 4 tenths here. So drop it down to second gear. Once you've done that big blip, up to 100% throttle straight away, nice and early. We don't actually cut too much here. I was just looking to get the exit as well as possible. Up to third gear. It is a very simple lap. So turns 2 and 3, which are tricky. That's one corner basically, and then turn 6, and then turn 8 at the end here. And we cross the line for a 1:16.953. And as I say, there may be people that go faster this week. I'm sure I may do once I've got a couple of dozen laps on it rather than just 12. But it is going to be competitive straight from the off. So best of luck. Now we'll go to chase cam for a full speed run through. Okay, here we are in chase cam. So over to the left, taking turn 1 flat, back over to the left again, big lift, straighten the car up, brake up to about 75, trail it all the way down to the apex, turn 5 flat, do a cut, sorry that was turn 4, now turn 5 flat, do a cut, over to the left hand side for turn 6. Looking for the start of the white paint. Braking, using the track for entry, getting the exit nice. Over to the right hand side, absolutely flat out through 7. And final turn 8, blip of throttle as we put it up to second gear, down to second gear. And over and across the line. Right, final time from the cockpit with the driving line on. So a very straightforward lap. Only that tricky bit is second gear. It should make for a lot of racing and an awful lot of drafting this week. I've been Sambo iRacing, and I'll see you guys in the week. Cheers.